We want to get the very latest on all cryptocurrencies for you. We like to check in periodically, whether it's how they're doing or regulation or what you might want to consider for your portfolio. So let's get the pros in to give us some thoughts. Mark Connors is here, Global Head of Macro Strategy at OnRamp Bitcoin, and Nathan Cox, Chief Investment Officer to Prime. Thank you both for being here. Nathan, I'll start with you. How are you feeling about the crypto market overall? Is there certain areas that you seem to like more than others, and why?
Sure. Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we focus primarily on Bitcoin and ETH, so that's where we've put our attention. And I think the summer has kind of presented us with a little bit of that vacation feeling. Certainly things have slowed down since the Bitcoin ETF approval, but we're still looking forward to the second half of the year. We're deep in the middle of the halving cycle. And so we see a lot of second half of the year potential for the rally to continue. Obviously, equities continue to push highs, and we think that's net positive for the market.
I think that those who like Bitcoin would say, look how great it's done, even during the most volatile times, or even some of the stuff that was criminal. They got rid of some of the bad eggs, I guess I can say it that way. You know, it really held on. It didn't crash. It showed some stability. On the other side of the coin, some people might say, well, why doesn't it go higher? I mean, why isn't it at 75,000? Why haven't we seen the 100,000 already? What do you say to them when they say that, Nathan?
I mean, I have to say that so far, we're off to a pretty good start. Bitcoin's up something like 57% year to date. Ether is up about 55%. We're trading roughly 11% away from all-time highs. Typically, just when you look at these cycles, these are big 4-year halving cycles. They last somewhere around 350 to about 480 days. And we're really just 2 months away from this previous halving cycle, which happened on April 20th of this year. So we think there's still a lot of room left in the tank. You know, the upside targets that we hear pretty consistently are obviously 100,000. That's the big number in the sky that everybody likes to point to. But even if you extrapolate out from previous high cycles, we think we could easily see upwards of 120,000.
Yeah. Oh, so you're definitely seeing those 100 marks, right? 120,000 you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Mark, I thought it was interesting when I was reading through your notes. I saw Pope Francis and Larry Fink in one sentence, and you start saying, "Oh, what was that? What are you talking about here? Tell us more."
So you're seeing at the G7 in Italy, Pope Francis invited for the first time, and what does he bring up? He brings up humanity and dignity, and Larry Fink also brought up the debt issue. And the reason those two are related is because currently the wage earners, a common person, can't keep up with housing prices and rents. Mm-hmm. And we also mentioned the Fed in the note.
Right.
And the Fed is changing what they consider inflation, whether it's super core or core. And the reason we brought it up is because things are moving fast. The equity market is up, as Nathan said, but it's up because of 2-3 names. You know, the top 5 names are 30% of the market cap, and you know, account for the majority of the gains. So what does that have to do with Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Bitcoin is a technology, and Bitcoin provides a store of value while the printing machine continues to fund deficits. So that is the main reason. That's what Larry Fink was talking about, and just imploring G7 to slow down on deficit spending.
Do you think people will miss out if they don't have some sort of crypto in their portfolio in 10, 20 years? I mean, whether it's Bitcoin or something else, maybe, what should they have? But do you think that those folks will miss out?
Did people miss out if they didn't have Amazon and Nvidia? Everything is being abstracted. Look at where we are. This used to be full of people. Now it's full of technology. All the trading has been abstracted from that, where was it?
Right.
The tree to the floor, now to upstairs. So we do think Bitcoin will move from a $1.4 trillion to a $10 trillion asset over the next decade.
I mean, you've been on here talking about 100,000 plus, right? What kind of numbers are you looking for?
We have 110,000 base case, and we still have a high case, 450,000 by the end of next year.
Wow, that's your bull case, end of 2025. You know, what's going to drive this? And Ethereum, will we see ETFs for Ethereum? Because we see those abroad, right? Aren't they in Canada? Nathan, when you look at that, what's going to drive this whole group higher? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we continue to see adoption from traditional finance, and this has been the sort of the cry from the crypto enthusiasts for years. But it's finally started to manifest. You have the ETF approvals now that have driven over 20 billion in assets from traditional finance into these Bitcoin ETFs, and you've got the ETH ETF that's on the horizon here, slated for sometime in July. We'll be watching that closely to see what type of inflows we see. But really, there's still such a small sliver of investors that have really gotten exposure to cryptocurrency at this point in time. And we see these on ramps as a highly liquid and easy way for those folks to finally add that to a portfolio.
As liquidity grows, Nathan, I mean, we think about how it's become more normalized to have crypto, particularly with now the okay for ETFs. So now you're seeing the big banks and brokers getting involved, and so more income and inflows, right? Is that what you expect will continue to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the big banks are a huge part of the equation, but then you have more retail exposure that's able to get access to this through all types of investment accounts or retirement accounts. We see a lot of opportunity in the options as they become available for the ETFs. And so across the spectrum of traditional finance, we see continued adoption. And that's something that we believe will obviously really grow the pie for everyone. I think to Mark's point, somewhere in the $10 trillion range would be the upper end of our estimate, probably over the next, say, 12 to 18 months. And we'd love to see, first, we just need to get to 100,000.
Yeah, and quickly, Mark, I mean, is Bitcoin really your focus for the most part? Is there anything else we should be watching as a possible winner in crypto?
We are solely focused on Bitcoin because the opportunity that Nathan was talking about, we've only scratched the surface on adoption.
Right. It's great to see you both. Mark Connors,
Thank you.
Global Head of Macro Strategy, On-Ramp Bitcoin, and Nathan Cox, Chief Investment Officer at 2 Prime. Wonderful to see you both. And everybody said 100,000 plus, even 450,000 as a best case scenario next year. So let's see if that happens.